So the communists laid out a strategy to corrupt the church from within. They couldn't prohibit it altogether because ostensibly the Soviet Union allowed religious freedom. That was in their constitution. In practice, they did not. But the strategy was to find clergy that they could control one way or another. So they would look for people who had a weakness, say alcohol, or misuse of money, or whatever kinds of sins, and that they could essentially manipulate a person, blackmailing them, and forcing them then to share information about the people in their church congregation. In almost all of the communist countries, they also had the say on who would be advanced, who would be ordained, who would then become a bishop. And over time, you had a very compromised leadership. I won't say universally throughout the church, but in many cases, meaning the only people who could then interact with people from the West were those who already were on the leash, so to speak. And Westerners would visit Moscow, for example, and go to the church that was like a little Potemkin village. It was a real church and there were real people there, but it looked like they were a lot more free than they actually were. And the only people who would have a conversation with Westerners would be those who were controlled and who would only say what they had been told they could say. So this illusion was propagated that there really was religious freedom throughout the Soviet Union, when in fact it was quite the opposite. But it was this Cheka strategy years later that had softened and in some ways corrupted the church from within. The closer you got to the grassroots, the more likely you were to find authentic people of faith, but those in the higher echelons very often were people who were not there because of their spiritual prowess.